What does black tax mean to you?
Paying my parents back.
Do you believe in black tax or?
I don't. Oh, sorry.
Hi people, what's up? Hi Anita.
Sorry.
It's been long. Why am I moving my earrings?
Exactly.
Oh, well, this is the second time I'm recording this video. I just didn't feel good about the first time I recorded it because I felt like I was hiding myself and I need to be open, okay? I feel like I'm even wearing the correct earrings to describe this topic, Africa and black tax, because we come from a country, a continent that is just impoverished, okay? So this brings me to the question of, is black tax a burden or is it a privilege? Anita, what are your thoughts?
I'd say paying my parents back. Me, I don't believe
did,
it.
did you just say pay your parents back? Do you believe in black tax or
I don't.
do you think
But I'm not saying there's anything wrong with giving back to your parents or
Yeah.
giving back to your family. If you're doing it willingly, then it's okay. But now, if it's like you're obligated now to,
do it?
yes, then it's a problem.
Okay.
But most will see it as a burden because it's what's expected of you when you come from a black family. They expect for you to give back. So it's almost like an obligation.
Okay, so she brings up a very important word, obligation. Should it really be an obligation? It's just or something which is a responsibility. Personally, would you feel good when you know your own family is struggling and you know you're financially, not financially okay, but you're in a position to assist? I wouldn't feel okay. I'll be that person who wants to at least contribute to the family, whether it's educating some my nieces or my sisters or just finding something that I can chip into. That brings joy. And the thing is, I realized the more you give, right, the more you receive. So if you happen to be the blessed person within the family, you have got to build up the family, move them from poverty into not necessarily wealth, but make life better. In short, you're the person who breaks the generational curse. And for me it's more of a privilege. It's not I don't feel like it's a burden. To many it would feel like a burden, to some would be like a privilege. And the reason why I'm saying a privilege is I was having a talk with someone yesterday and this just came about because I remember last year when I went home in December and I was having chats with my dad, and he happened to tell me this: Jenny, it's your time, you have to take the mantle from me. And at that particular moment it felt like a blessing rather than um, a responsibility, because he's been that person who's held the family, his own family. So when I say my dad, I mean my uncle, his own family. Since I can, like, I think since I lost my parents, he's been the one who's taking care of me since I lost my parents in 2000, my dad in 2004. So since then until now, this is the person I've known. Should I need any financial assistance, should I need advice, this is the person that I go to. And not just for myself, but also for my younger siblings and also for other people within the family. So the moment he said this, it's your time to take the mantle for me, it meant that any single door that I know is going to be closed, or rather would be closed, is going to open up, because I've been given that responsibility, right? To be the person who now helps in breaking the generational curses by investing in people's education, investing in their like say business, just coming up with business ideas in order to ensure that the family doesn't stay in poverty. You could be in a position where you don't have any money, or you have cash, you have very little cash, and you want to hold on to this money and hold on to it without, maybe you could go buy clothes or buy shoes, or you feel like, no, I want to go out with my friends, so I need to save this money. But you have someone who's struggling. Are you going to stay with this money for yourself to do all these shenanigans that you want to do, or are you going to help someone and know that at least I changed someone's life for a second or two? I would personally give out that money. And so many occasions I've given out, like, maybe the last coin that I had, and I think, okay, fine, the rest of the month I'm gonna stay without anything. Then boom, I get a gig and I get money. One instance that stood out to me was in 2018 when I had like literally there was an emergency, so I literally had to send the money, and I was left with like, yeah, I think 70, literally 70 rand between me and poverty. And I was like, okay, and it's more or less in the middle of the month. And I'm like, okay, how am I going to survive? Fine, I have eggs, I have milk, I have flour, I have rice, I can survive. So that means there's tea, there's rice, there's pap, there's all these things, right? And then 2 days later, I get a call from my agency, the modeling agency, Kalu Media. And then I'm like, okay, maybe this is a job that I won't even get. I don't even understand why they're calling me for it. And now I remember the job. It was a voiceover for Go TV. You know, Go TV. I know Kenyans will know this, but it's like an equivalent version of DSTV. And it was a voiceover. And I did that. I'll just link the what do you call it? Just to show off, you know. I'm gonna put so that y'all can listen to my nasty voice, because I never listened to my voice anyway after that. And I got paid, I think, 3K from that job. And imagine, I was crying saying, okay, how am I going to survive with 70 bucks until the end of the month? And then you get paid 3,000. So which means the fact that I gave, that was just one of the instances that I gave, right? And at the end of the day, I still ended up with something. It's not like I was lacking. And it made me feel like was a confirmation time of, listen, Jane, it's not an obligation, it's not a burden, it's more of a blessing and a responsibility, because they say to whom much is given, much is expected. I've been given. I'm that person who's been educated. Okay, my uncle took care of me in primary school. High school, I've had someone educated me because I went to Staré Girls. No school fees was paid at that point. Come to varsity, I've had MasterCard paying for me for the past 7-8 years, which means I've had things given to me. Why would I not be the person to give to the society, right? Of which in this instance, the first society would be my own family. When I get to a point where I can give back to more people, then I pick up the other people from the society. So all I'm saying is, black tax would feel like a burden. But at the end of the day, if you look at how many blessings comes to these people who are in a position where they needed to pay the black tax, you would be shocked. So many doors open for them, doors that they even think, okay, this wouldn't be open for me, right? They end up opening. So another, but also just to caution you, yes, there's black tax where you giving it, you constantly give, but don't forget that you also need to build yourself. Because at the end of the day, you're building your future for your family. You don't want them to find you in a position where you're still uplifting everyone from behind, and then they'll be part of this problem, because they'll never get someone to uplift them, because mommy or daddy is constantly stressed. Oh, I need to give money to this person, or I need to send money to this person. Which brings me to another point. Constantly sending and sending and sending. Say your mom says, baby, send me the money this time, send me money this time. No, rather find a solution, or find like a business proposal and be like, are you able to do this? Put in the capital, right? And also think of who you're dealing with. Are they people who are trusted? When you give them money, they'll do what you expect them to do, or are they not? If they're not, make sure you're involved in every single step. Put in the capital, make sure the business picks up, because at the end of the day, what you're doing is they're able to generate the money for themselves, and then they're also saving you the stress of thinking of every single month I need to send money to this person. And you're building the society, you're building them, of which maybe if the business grows, they'll end up getting people to employ. I'm still saying you're uplifting the society through giving black tax. Another thing would be, let's see. Now I'm speaking to the parents. Please, some of us who come from university, like the money we get is the small. Remember, we have to pay rent, we have to eat, we have to dress. Some of us like gallivanting, we have to go to parties and what. I'm not saying that's important. Groceries, there's insurance, there's medical aid, there's a lot of things. So sometimes if you find that you're asking and the person is like, I'm in a position where I can't send at the moment, try and understand. There's this story that goes around. Apparently, well, I personally, this is my dream, and I know I would have lived a fulfilled life if I do this for my family. Build a house for them first before I build my home. That's something I'm just saying for myself, okay? But other people would be in a position where the parent knows, hey, yes, in South Africa, and hey, my baby's done with school,
my house is coming,
my house is coming next minute, not even after a few years or something. So you end up putting so much pressure on on your child. They end up taking loans, and then when they take loans, they'll always be in debt. But remember, pulling people from poverty means you don't live a life of debt. If there's one thing that scares me in mind, like, I do not like living in debt. The moment I see, say maybe I owe Anita 100 rand, and I see Anita, I won't even think of saying hi. That 100 rand will come to my head. And it's just like, it's very stressful. So if you can try find a way to live out of poverty or out of debt, living in debt, and this brings me to, when you first get a job, the first thing you want to buy is a car. But you can buy this car, and I'm glad I had this talk with a friend as well, and he opened up my eyes on this, because I would always say, no, I need a house first before I get a car. But is a car, you look at the scenarios and you say, is a car going to be more beneficial to me, or am I going to benefit more from a house? Okay, if you're someone who's in business, the car would be very beneficial to you. So getting the car, and okay, at the end of the day, I'm getting enough money to pay off the debt that I'm getting from this car, as well as keeping some to go into like paying your rent or your shenanigans or your grocery and all that. It balances out and it becomes something that makes sense. Okay, but don't go into debt because of black tax. Okay, all right. And also, just okay, this black tax thing will also push us to a point where we want to show off, and so we end up buying the car as the first thing. And this is something I've seen in South Africa, sorry to say. Back at home, people don't even, like, it's never one thing, the first thing that comes into people's mind. But it also makes sense with regards to how the environment is. There's even students in University of Pretoria, even like literally South Africa, students will be driving expensive cars. But you need to stop and think, this person who's driving this expensive car, which kind of family do they come from? Is it a well-off family that him, after he graduates, he doesn't need to give back to his people, right? Or rather, he doesn't need to contribute. He can only maybe he'll contribute because he feels like, let me say thank you to my parents for doing this for me, but not because it's a responsibility for him to do so. So don't try and compete with people whose lives are literally way better than yours. Don't, like they say, cut your cloth according to your size. In Kiswahili we say jikune ujipatapo. You cannot you see the way when you want to scratch your back, ne? You can only reach a certain point of your back to scratch, right? There's certain levels where you have to adjust yourself. Maybe, okay, I'm gonna have to put my hand through the back for me to reach this particular point. Or some places you just can't. You'll have to call the next person, like, can you please scratch me? So just look at your life, do things according to your comfort. Try and avoid living in debt, but also give back. Don't look at black tax as a burden to you. If you're in a position where you are the person to uplift people from poverty, it is a blessing in disguise without you knowing. Because without that, maybe you wouldn't even be working in a very prestigious company if that's where you're working. Or maybe you wouldn't even be getting things working out for you, and each and every day you're left wondering, but God, why me? Because it feels like every time I feel like a door is going to close, it's constantly like you open bigger doors and bigger doors. So I would just like to say, black tax is not a burden. Take it as a privilege. Take it as a blessing. Do the best that you can. Don't strain yourself, because you'll end up getting money stresses, and money stresses kill faster than anything in this world. And also, if someone blesses you, someone gives you that mantle, accept it and take it with pride. Okay, so I'm really grateful to my uncle. I'm really grateful to him for those words. Those words will forever be with me, because it means he blessed me. All right, in his own way, he blessed me. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you guys learned something from it. I was not just blubbering as always, okay? Even if I was, I hope you got something. All right, but just this anyway, disclaimer, these are my opinions. If you have a different opinion, you can leave your comments in the comment section.
But don't be rude.
Don't
there's no necessity to be rude.
Yes, please don't be rude, okay? But no one has ever been rude here. You guys are nice people, but if maybe someone was thinking of that because this is a very sensitive topic, please don't be that person. Thank you so much. Please don't forget to subscribe as well. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. We'll be dropping more and more content on real life, more content on fashion. I'm coming back with a bit of fashion next time.
Whoop whoop.
Yappy, with more of this hair as well. I think it's time also, like, okay, Jen, you're talking too much.
Bye.
Bye. Mwah. Baby. We have to close with that.